that he was able to go to. The only place was in the cave. Now the cave represents darkness. It represents loneliness. It represents isolation. It represents crises and trouble, disappointments and discouragement. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Depression. Those things that life brings to you and overwhelms you. Where you go and you try to hide and escape from the problems that are plaguing you. It is where you end up when all of your earthly support is gone. It's where you end up when your health is failing. And it's where you end up when you get laid off your job and the company closes down and moves somewhere else. And you've been there for a while. It's where you go when you're over your head in debt. You can't pay your bills. You can't pay your tithes. You can't give in the offerings. Your dreams and your family's dreams are shattered. Your heart is broken and your spirit is wounded. The cave. Either you have been there, you are there, or you're going to be there. Because nobody is exempt. And eventually everybody does a little bit of time in that dark place, in that cave. Job was there in Job 3:11 when he said, "Why did I not die when I was born?" Elijah was there when he said in 1 Kings 19:4 under the juniper tree, "Lord, I've had enough, just let me die." I mean, here's a prophet that called fire down from heaven. Here's a man of God that defeated 400 false prophets. Here's a man that brought a dead boy back to life. But when Jezebel got after him, he couldn't handle it. And he wanted to run and hide and kill himself. David was there after losing everything that he had. The enemies came, took everything he had at Ziklag, his family, all of his possessions. He was there in 1 Chronicles 11:15 when he was surrounded by the Philistines and longed for a drink of water from the well of Bethlehem. He said, "If I could get one more drink." Have you ever been there? Have you ever been in the place to where you're so overwhelmed? You're so dry. Nothing seems to be going right. Your world is caving in. You say, "God, if I could just get one more touch. Lord, if you could just do it one more time. If I could feel your presence one more time. Lord, if you could just help me one more time. If I could just get one more drink from the Holy Ghost. Just one more time. I believe I can make it. I believe I can get through this." It could have been there. It could have been there where David said in Psalms 42:1, "As the deer panteth for the water brook, so does my soul thirst after thee." It could have been there in Psalm 63:1 where he said, "Early will I seek thee, for my soul thirsts after thee, O God, in a dry and thirsty land." It could have been there in Psalms 31:15 when he said, "My times are in your hand. Deliver me from the hands of my enemy." It could have been there in Psalms 27:5 where he said, "In the days of trouble you shall hide me." It could have been there in Psalms 121 and verse 1 and 2 when he said, "I will look to the hills from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord." It could have been there in Psalms 27:2 when he said, "The Lord is the strength of my life, of whom shall I be afraid?" It could have been there in Psalms 37:25 when he said, "I have never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed out begging for bread." It could have been there in Psalm 68 and verse 1 when he said, "Let God arise and his enemies be scattered." It could have been there in Psalms 30 and verse 5 where he said, "Weeping may endure for the night, but joy is coming in the morning." It could have been there in Psalm 61 and verse 2 where he said, "When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that is higher than I." We used to sing an old song that said, "I go to the rock of my salvation. I go to the stone that the builders rejected. Though the earth all around me be sinking sand, upon Christ Christ, the solid rock I stand. I just want you to know there is a place where you can go when the ground around you is sinking, and God will uphold you by the power of his hand. The cave. It's not a good place to be.
Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
The cave is not a good place to be. But mama, it's not a bad place to be. Do you know why it's not a bad place to be? Because that's where God does some of his best work. Because the cave is a place of developing. It's a place of shaping and molding and making. It's where God does his best work. Molding and shaping. Most of us are familiar with, well, right now I could take my iPhone, and technology has got to a place to where I can take a picture of my beautiful wife. I can go into my computer, plug in it, print out the picture. But there was a time that we didn't have all this technology. And when someone took a picture, they had to develop that film. And the only way they could develop the film is to take it to the dark room. And they would take those films to the dark room and they would develop it. And most of the times when you looked at the picture after it was taken, you said, "Whoa! I didn't know that was in that picture. I didn't see that stuff all around me." Wave your heads. Yes, no, not, do something. I'm going to tell you like I told the people in the early church service this morning. I'll be like the preacher that was preaching, his congregation just sit there, just looked at him like a calf looking at the new gate, didn't say anything, didn't do anything, just sat and looked at him. After he'd been preaching for about 30 minutes, he started standing up. "That's right, preacher, preach on. Amen, yes sir, preach it." Finally, he looked at him and said, "Sit down and hush." He said, "For 30 minutes, I've been pushing this wagon up this hill by myself. And you haven't helped me get it on the top of the hill. Now I got it up here by myself. I'm going to ride down by myself." But when you take that picture and he takes it into the dark room, he develops that picture. And when he comes out, it doesn't look like anything that they thought it was going to look like. But you know what's the real story behind that? There's always a negative. Have you ever noticed what the negative looks like? Anybody? It's the opposite. It's the reverse of the reality. It's the reverse of the reality. It's the reverse of the real thing. You got some old film, go back and check it if you don't think I'm telling you the truth. What are you trying to say? Some of you are there. You're in God's dark room. And you're going through what you're going through and dealing with what you're dealing with because He's developing you. He's shaping you. He's molding you. He's knocking some chips off the old block, trying to make you a better mama, trying to make you a better daddy, trying to make you a better Christian and a better church member. He's trying to make you better. And what it looks like when you're in that dark room, what it looks like, your discouragement, your frustration, your problems, your crises, your trouble, what it looks like is just the opposite of the real thing. You missed a good place to shout and clap right there. It's the reverse of the reality. But you have to go to the dark room to get it developed. And it's a process. Turn to your neighbor and say, you're in a process. You're going through what you're going through because God is developing you. He's making you a better person. You can't help people if you've never been through it. Now in the Moabites, in the Old Testament, when the potters would make the clay pots, the Moabite potter would dig a hole behind the potter's house. And then he would place this vessel that he had made so caressfully and put it in a hole. He'd dig a hole and put that vessel in that dark hole in the cave. And he would cover it up. And he would leave it for only a time that the potter would go extract the vessel. At a certain time, he would go extract the vessel to see if it was ready to be put on display, for people to see the handiwork and what the potter had done. But the problem is, when he would go and he would uncover it at a certain time, and he would take that pot out of the dark hole and he would thump it. And if it had a dull sound to it, see, some of you getting thumped. That depression, that loss of a job, whatever the problem is, you've been thumped. And if he thumped it and it sounded like a dull thump, guess what he'd do with it? Put it right back in the ground. Because he said, you're not ready. He'd go back again and he'd keep doing that same process until when he went and thumped it, it would go ding, ding, and make a beautiful sound. And then he'd take it out and say, it's ready to put on display. Some people say, I just don't understand why I'm still going through what I'm going through. I can't understand why I'm still where I am. Because your thump's dull. You got a dull thump. All you do is murmur. All you do is gripe. All you do is complain. All you do is have a pity party. And all you do is brag on the devil. The devil has got me down. He's done this, he's done that. That's good preaching. If you don't amen me, I'm going to sit down and amen myself. Just complaining, oh, everything's bad. It ain't going to get any better. God said, put it back. They need a little bit more time to develop. And then he goes over there, and all of a sudden, you start saying, thank you, Jesus. Woo! Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Glory to God. All of a sudden you start praising God. All of a sudden you start worshiping God. All of a sudden you're having a better sound. And he says, that is a vessel that has been tested, that has been tried, that has endured, and is fully developed. And I'm going to put you out here where everybody can see my handiwork. That I'm the one that healed you. That I'm the one that delivered you. That I'm the one that set you free. That I'm the one that brought you out. That I'm the one that met you need. I just come by to tell somebody it's time for you to get out of the hole you're in. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. It's a place of development. The second thing you need to understand about this cave experience is it's a place of discovery. You see, it's in the cave, in the dark moments, in the moments of difficulty, in the moments of crises, in the hour of affliction, that you realize who you are. You realize who you are. You see yourself like you have never seen yourself before. You see yourself and you see your weaknesses. You see your vulnerabilities. You see how rotten you really are? But you had to get there to come to the realization that you're not all that in a bag of chips. You've had to go through that to realize you're not all that. You're not all you think you are. The Bible says God resisteth the proud. Lifts up those who love. So, you see yourself. You get a real good picture of who you are. Not only that, but you get a picture of who you are without Him. Because you try to do everything on yourself. You've been this turn, this sticks. I can handle this. I got this under control. Come on now, y'all know I'm telling the truth. I got it all under control. When your life's falling apart, you got on a mask, you're putting on a face, and like everything's all right, because you don't want anybody to see what you really are going through. But you see when you're in that dark place. It's like Isaiah when he went into the temple, and the glory of God filled the temple. The train filled the temple, the doorpost shook, and Isaiah said, "Woe is me." I thought I was doing pretty good, but woe is me, for I am undone. But then not only do you see yourself, but you see God. You see a God in a way that you have never seen Him before. You see Him as you've never seen Him. You get a revelation of who God is. You get a revelation and you see God in His greatness and in His power and in His majesty and in His honor. You see Him high and lifted up. You see God. And it is where you are when all your props and dependencies are gone. And now it's just you and God. And some of you hadn't got there where it's just you and God. Right now it's you and everybody else around you. But there'll come a time it'll just be you and God. You're going to get to know God in a more intimate way than you ever know. And it's going to be in those moments when you think there's no help, there's no hope, that I'm done, I'm finished, that you're going to see that God is enough. You're going to discover that all you have is God, and that's enough. I told the story this morning in the early service of how a lady came to one of my revivals several years ago. She came and she unloaded on me everything she was going through. How her kids had abandoned her, how people were treating her. Her family was treating her, and she was at her wit's end. And she said, "Preacher, I don't know what to do. All I have is God." And I looked at her and I said, "Mother, if all you got is God, you are a majority. If all you have is God, that's enough." Look at your neighbor and say, "That's enough. He's enough." When the enemy comes in like a flood, He's enough. Whoa, when the lightning flashes and the thunder roll and the storms blow in, He's enough. Moses knew that God was enough when he walked through the Red Sea like it was a sidewalk. Abraham knew that God was enough when he looked for a city whose builder and maker was God. Samson knew that God was enough when he took the jawbone of a donkey and he destroyed 1,000 Philistines. Solomon knew that God was enough when he said, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart." Elijah knew that God was enough when he said, "How long will you hold?" Isaiah knew that God was enough when he said, "Heal me, Lord, and I shall be healed." Elisha knew that he was enough when he said, "Where is the God of Elijah?" Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they knew he was enough when they saw the fourth man in the fiery furnace. Daniel knew that God was enough when he saw the angel close the mouth of the lions. Jeremiah knew that God was enough when he said, here I am, Lord. Stephen knew that God was enough when he was being stoned to death. He looked through the stoning and said, where? There he is. I see him. I see Jesus at the right hand of the Father. Peter knew that God was enough when he said, it's joy unspeakable and full of glory. Paul knew that God was enough when he said, I am persuaded that neither life nor death, nor principality, nor powers can separate me from the love of God. Joshua knew that God was enough when he said, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Somebody shout yes. Job knew that he was enough when he said, though he slay me, I will serve him. David knew that he was enough when he said, when my mother and my father forsake me, the Lord will pick me up. I just come by to tell you, God's enough. If he can't bring you through it, you'll never get through it. But if he brought you to it, he'll see you through it. That's why David said, yea, though I walk through the valley. What he's saying is, I'm not in a permanent position. This is not a permanent situation. Paul said, my light and momentary afflictions are only for a short season and a short time. I come by and tell you, cheer up, because where you are is not where you're staying. It's like when you came into this building this morning, you walked through those doors, you didn't think anything about it. I'm going to church, I'm entering these doors. You're inside of this building, but guess what? If you look back over the door, there's a big sign that says exit. Just like there's an entrance, there's an exit. Just like you came into the valley, there's an exit sign to go out of the valley. You're coming out. Turn to your neighbor and shout, I'm coming out. I'm coming out. I'm coming out. The devil's going to lose his hold. The devil's going to lose his grip. He's got to be defeated. I'm coming out. I'm getting up. I'm shaking it off. I'm moving forward. Wherever you are is just fine, as long as God is there. That's why David said, I'm not worried. He said, he's with me. If I ascend upon high, he's there. If I make my bed in hell, he's there. I can't get away from him. You need to realize you are somebody. You can't get away from him. He'll follow you everywhere you go. He'll follow you through every situation. He's not the co-pilot, thank you. He is the pilot. He's the one in control. He's the one at the helm. He's the one that's going to get you through the storm. He said, I'll never leave you. I'll never forsake you. You're in a situation you can't fix. You can't heal it. You can't escape it. You must learn to trust in the Lord. For he will make a way for me. Yes! Yes! And in our closing remarks, I want to share this with you. The cave was a place of total deliverance.